The all-new Volkswagen T-Roc, a new compact SUV, and here on Autogefühl, your number one resource for in-depth car reviews and your number one community to discuss cars. Today with Thomas, we're going to take you on a detailed tour, two different vehicles, exterior, interior, styling, trim. What's the price? What's the strategy with this new compact SUV? You will experience everything of that in full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go! The T-Roc has a design focus, and you can already see that here in the front. It's a really wide front grille and it is all aligned with the headlights. You can see it here, it goes all the way right there, and that makes a very wide appearance overall. It starts with halogen headlights and then optional are LED, as we can see them right here now. And then this is also changing the LED daytime running lights, which we can see here. When we have the LED, we also have this more spectacular one. It would be just a straight one in combination when we have the halogen lights. So this is the difference. This one is also a trim level called Style. There's basically a base trim level and then Style and Sport. Today we're showing you two vehicles in Style and explain you what are the differences. First of all, for example, this contrast here in the lower part is also for the Style trim level, otherwise it would be no contrast at all in the base trim level. And the interesting thing, I can tell you right now, the prices will start at about 20,000 euros, taking Germany as reference. And well, that is really something to think about if we think about the competitors. 4 meters 23 or 13 foot 8 is the total length of this vehicle. This is still a compact SUV, rather a small compact SUV, because there are also bigger ones. And when we think about the position in the Volkswagen lineup, there will be a smaller SUV called T-Cross on the Polo basis. This one here is on the Golf basis, MQB A1. Also comparing to the Skoda Karoq or the Seat Ateca, those ones are the siblings, also the Audi Q2. And then think about the pricing. The Audi Q2 is 3,500 euros more expensive. A Volkswagen Tiguan, which is bigger when you have a family, for example, is at 26,500 euros. So 6,500 euros higher than the entry price. And also with this one, Volkswagen can finally attack, for example, the Nissan Qashqai, which is the most selling SUV in Europe, or the Honda CR-V, because so far they are really less expensive, way less expensive than the Volkswagen Tiguan. This is now a chance to get an attractive price and also with this new design focus. And speaking of that, we have the top 19-inch rims. It starts with 16-inch steel, then 16-inch aluminum, then 17, 18 and 19 is the top one. 17 you get automatically with Style and Sport, and the Style trim level here is defined by this contrasting roof colors in white, black, brown or red. Also the mirror caps. Here in combination to the Ravenna blue, which is my favorite, comes close to a so-called Thomas blue. That's some Autogefühl subscriber insider. All the way around with the roof, chrome on the upper part, black on the lower part. Then rather a Golf design on the side doors. A design above the door handles, pretty solid door handles, and everything then leads to this massive C-pillar. This is also basically typical for a Golf. It's a little bit coupe style. You see a falling window in the rear, but not as dramatic as we've seen in 2014 with the Geneva Motor Show with the T-Roc concept. That was more dramatic, more SUV coupe style. However, this one here is more crossover coupe than, for example, the other SUVs from the Volkswagen model lineup. So they always try to move this vehicle then also more in this design direction again to make it, not really focusing on the room, but more on design on the exterior. But soon we will find out which room is left on the interior. And now to the rear, you can see the falling flat window line there. That gives it a little bit more style and then also accentuates this area right there. The lights always come standard with LED. That's contrast to the front. In the front, optional LED. Here, always standard LED with a very modern look. The logo can be flipped. We'll soon show you that to open the trunk. And the lower area here in the style trim with a contrast again. By the way, style or sport, no matter which trim you go for, sport would be, for example, then with a darker look, especially also here the lights are a little bit darker than everything, a little bit sportier. For both lines, if you compare it to the base model, is about €2,500 extra in price. So, that's still quite okay. You get some options then, also bigger rims and so on, so it doesn't boost the price too much yet. And now to our second vehicle for today, as promised. This one here is Kurkuma yellowed. Overall, there are 11 exterior colors. And what you can also see is here we got the black contrast roof. There are 4 contrast colors available: white, black, red or brown. And in this case, it matches very well the Kurkuma yellow color. I would, of course, always go with the blue one, but maybe this one here is your favorite, then tell me in the comments. This is also the style trim level, exterior and interior, and also the same 19-inch rims, which are, again, optional. And the VW logo always remains in the 2D scheme as the front assist comes with the standard equipment. That means that the city emergency brake is already included. I think a very important step for safety. And another look at this Kurkuma yellow vehicle, especially with the central badging here, in combination with the Kurkuma yellow color. It reminds us of the Volkswagen Arteon, which has introduced this central name badging. I think it looks more worthy that way. Also from this rear perspective, it reminds us a little bit of the Audi Q2, doesn't it? With the difference that it's €3,500 cheaper. And fake exhaust tips are used in the lower area, and the reason why they're doing that is when they have different engines, they all want the same look on the rear. Not any difference with the exhaust. That saves costs and also serves as a universal design language. So you can put no matter exhaust just on the lower point of the car, and everything what you see remains the same. It's a controversial issue for sure, but if you think about it from that perspective, it also makes sense in a way. Talking about engines, it's relatively simply. I really love that. Well, we don't have hydraulic struts here, but then again, how often do you open the hood? Well, in the review to tell you more about the engines. 115, 150 or 190 horsepower, both for petrol and diesel. Petrol, starting with a 1-liter 3-cylinder with 115 horsepower. The other ones then are the 2-liter TSI, 150 or 190 horsepower. Diesel starts with a 1.6 TDI, then with the 115 horsepower. The other one's a 2-liter TDI, then with 150 and 190 horsepower. The top engines are always combined with all-wheel drive and DSG, the dual-clutch transmission. Now the new one, the 7-speed DSG generation. The middle engines, let's call them that way, You can optionally go for all-wheel drive and the DSG, and the entry engine is then manual hand drive and front-wheel drive. So basically you have a lot of choice. The only thing that's not included here, maybe because it's so far just a niche vehicle, it will surely become a mass vehicle. I'm quite sure about that. So they do not start with any alternative drivetrains. That is missing to me. For example, CNG or a hybrid. Well, they still have to work on that, and also full electric will not come with this vehicle because they have an own electric platform for all vehicles. So this one will first start with petrol and a diesel. The diesel will start with SCR clearance for sure, and for the petrol engines, during the year 2018, also the petrol engines will receive a particle filter. And now let's get inside. This is a standard key, like with the Golf. There's also keyless entry available when you put your hand right there. But here it's not included. But what is included right here is that you can flip out the rear mirrors electronically. So, and let's open the door. Interesting thing is that the design scheme here fits the exterior color, so blue. However, the materials around that, this is hard plastic. I would like to have some soft touch here. It's probably the only flaw I've seen. I would like to have improved. Otherwise, good material quality. And then the question is really, do you need €3,500 more for an Audi Q2? So interior, you will see always with also when it's blue right here, for example, there. Overall 6 different colors available, 4 for the style trim levels, 6 overall, and it also matches the seats. 3 seat forms in general, a base seat, then this is the comfort seat with a little more support on the sides, and when we at a later stage also see a sport trim level, then you have even more shoulder support. Base seats, fabric or cloth, Stoff in German. So this one here, comfort seats, also cloth, so great sustainable choices. And the sport seats, they have leatherette then on the outside. So overall, good choices. You have style and sustainability at the same time. I think you can really work with that. Overall, it shows in which direction the interiors are going. So a little bit more colorful, more individualization. So when you think about the exterior and the interior colors and the different trims, it's more likable that there won't be too many cars on the road of this vehicle which are totally identical. And I think that's something which an owner, or at least a lot of owners, are really striving for. Then let's get inside. And the ground clearance on the exterior is, by the way, 2 centimeters higher than with a normal Golf. So that's not actually too much. However, the seating position has also been changed a little bit. And you can compare it with the Seat Ateca or the Skoda Karoq. However, I have the feeling that the Karoq and the Ateca are more SUV-ish, and this one here comes closer to crossover normal passenger cars, so not a too high SUV seating position, but I think it is, especially when you're taller, a little bit more comfortable than a Golf, and also easier to get in and out. Maybe if you cannot move that well anymore, for example, you're saying, yeah, I want a more comfortable entry and also going out of the vehicle. You can pump the seat up, right there, manual one. And the only thing, with the Volkswagen cars, with this turning wheel here, I always have, you can damage your watch, for example, right there. I don't like those turning wheels, but I've also heard people who really appreciate those. And are you a turning knob back seat turner, or are you one of the dark side? Tell me in the comments. Also in the front or back, everything easily work. And then you can also switch the steering wheel to all directions. That works pretty simple as well. So you can find a good position, and it's really spacious. And at least when you sit low like I do, also the middle console is, I wouldn't say bulky, but it's also not slim. So, but it is definitely present, let's call it that way. The rear mirror, I think, is a little bit slim. I think it's also design reasons, but I would like it, maybe it's a little bit higher for better visibility. And what about headroom? So there's no panoramic roof inbuilt here, but wow, that leaves a lot of headroom. So I'm 1.86 or 6'1", and I think even Michael Jordan could probably fit in this vehicle. Optional, you can go for digital instruments, as we can see them right here. Well, you can just start with analog ones, that's perfectly fine. Whatever you prefer. This one is the generation we also see in the all-new Volkswagen Polo. The only thing, I'm a little bit puzzled about, at the moment where you don't see the GPS there, but you can also put the GPS in there. There we have it. And but we'll later also show you the big infotainment screen, and the only thing is you cannot have it both at the same screens. I'll soon show you that again. But whatever you decide, it's a good possibility to have that one, and they are also addressing this issue that it's maybe with a facelift we'll be able to show both at the same time. You can also have some some different views in there. Not only, for example, also here the ACC is available with this vehicle. Also lane assist for assistance systems. This one here would then be for consumption and stuff, and or driving data, so you can switch it around. Of course, speed on the right side and RPM on the left side. So the temperature unit, from every Golf vehicle, for example. Heated steering wheel is also available, just when you have this button on the left and you activate the seat heating at the same time. And if we move further down, you can have 2 USB supplies. That's good for the front. And also inductive charging with a smartphone is possible, optional. You can see the symbol right there when you put the smartphone there. Actually, it's a lot of space in the very front. Cockpit overview, everything is really cleanly designed. And this blue decor here, I like it because it also has matte feeling. So very nice there. The only thing here again, the top part of the dashboard here is hard plastic, and you may ask yourself, why do they do that? Well, even if it's just saving cents, for example, per vehicle, if you build 1 million vehicles, it's really, the decision of literally millions of dollars or euros, and that's the reason why they are doing that. And for example, here they argue, well, the normal customer wouldn't always touch the top part of the dashboard. You could argue that way, but you could also argue the other way. I'll leave it up to you in this case. Then about the switching of the maps. Again, they told me they are addressing this issue, that at some point it should be possible again. So far it's not possible in this version here. In the Passat or in the Tiguan, it is possible to have the map at both views at the same time. Here, however, either here, or then if you switch it over to the active info display. However, the visualization is really clean and good here with the proximity sensors for for the next menu. And the thing is, it's really intuitive. Let's see, no gesture control right here, at least not in this. But for example, when I want to change the language, see, it's so intuitive, I don't even have to think where I can switch the language, for example. So how they built the menu, I think it's really very nice. Well, does it also taste good, the menu? Let's see. You can, for example, connect your phone via Bluetooth. That is possible. However, there's also this app connect available in the highest spec. This one is the highest trim level. There are also small availables if you do not want to spend so much money. This is for plugging in the phone via the cable. Just a short hop back to the GPS again, because you can either control it like a smartphone, like this, capacitive, or you can still use one of those two buttons, for example, to zoom in and out, and the other one would be for the volume. Lower middle console here with cup holders, but you see they're not adaptive, so maybe that's wobbling around a little bit. That's something to improve. Electric handbrake, and then the armrest fixedly attached and with some space on the inside. So here is the manual shifting, and actually you can also get these G, as I told you, and what is even more important is the manual shifting is always a very smooth one, so if you put in the gears. And there will also be the DCC available, talking about the suspension, normal suspension, but also the dynamic chassis control, the adaptive suspension will be available, optional. And let's get in the rear compartment. Same design scheme also in the rear. And when 4 tall people are driving, that's possible. Headroom-wise, no problem at all. Knee room, you see, it fits, with 1.86 m or 6'1", it fits exactly that 4 tall adults could sit after or behind each other right here. So that does work. However, it's a compact car, and if you think about the legroom in the Golf, it is basically comparable to the one we can see here. In the middle part, there's a 12-volt power supply. Right there. Maybe another USB socket would have been nice there. And then you have a middle armrest with 2 cup holders. And you can also use a ski hatch to load things through. As for child seats, you have ISOFIX anchor points on the outside of the seats each. There we go. And you have to flip the seats from here, actually. You cannot do it from the trunk. Well, you can actually do it, but you have to reach over. But I can already show you how it's done from here. That's the way. And then there's also top tether on the outside if you want to fix your child seat right there. And here we already go with the trunk space. So you have an almost even loading surface there. So very well usable. The normal trunk space is 445 liters, by the way, if you just take this part here. When the trunk cover is installed, you have to reach over to flip the seat right here. And then we can take a look at the maximum capacity. Also, you can remove this bottom. You can have a replacement tire. That's possible. Here at the moment, there's also the sound system, the optional mounted right there. But you can see there's still space basically for a spare tire if you want to have some. So you see you're flexible enough. Well, you do lose some space in height for sure due to the window line. That is also a difference. For example, if you think about Tiguan, which is 20 centimeters longer. But if you do not need so much space, it's still very well usable for your everyday groceries and stuff. Just, with putting a bicycle with the, handlebars in here wouldn't be maybe the most versatile option. Overall, I think it is pretty much a standard for the smaller compact SUVs. And with this electric hatch, we can also make the child, please don't squish me test, safety test. Nice. So, maybe you remember some of our subscribers that we had problems there with the Tiguan, which was a little bit too harsh in torque, but here it's actually no problem. So, obviously, they also looked some Autogefühl in the engineering department. Here it works very well. And here again, that I can show you how to open it, either with the key or here with flipping the logo. And there we go with the electric hatch. And let's also take a look at the interior of this other vehicle. And here the color scheme on the inside directly matches the one on the outside. So all these decor elements here, for example, right there, it's a matte structure, by the way, so it feels also very nice. Available in yellow, as you can see it right there, but also in blue, brown, orange. Black would be then the standard from the base model, and gray would be in the sport model. But here in this style, the 4 colors I've mentioned. And they always also match the color of the decor elements here at the seats. This again, the style seat, so the second seat form, the comfort seat so-called, and then you can see that in this case yellow contrast match the other design of the vehicle. So an interesting idea, and shows again the emphasis of this car. The emphasis is design and individualization. You can also see it at the inside of the doors. We see the same right here. Reminds me a little bit also of the Beetle Dune we had, I think a year or two ago. So we had the same interior scheme right there. And I think it's, a good idea when you want to be a little bit expressive, especially here in this yellow design. What's also interesting, this vehicle here has the optional panoramic roof. That reduces the headroom. However, it's still plenty, so you don't have to be afraid of it when you are taller. You can also open that one, and considering the size of the vehicle, that leaves a lot of light and air inside. So you can enjoy that. Hello, here we go. So, and then let's move on to the rear. This beeping sound was from the ignition. So, what about the rear here? Well, that does make a difference. So, I still fit, but I mean, if you are 190 or taller, or taller than 6'2", probably you should leave out the panoramic roof. But then again, the question is, how often will you have so tall people in the rear here? Still, I think the result is you can still go with a panoramic roof with tall people. That is possible. And now to my conclusion for today, VW T-Roc. Actually, I can see a big sales success because it's a very good price-performance ratio. You get a lot of design purpose on the exterior. You can individualize your very car outside and especially also on the inside. We see a very good build quality. Yeah, I mean, some more soft touch here and there would have been nice for sure. But then again, you also have to think about they wanted to keep price lower, that you also have a difference, for example, to the Tiguan, that it really pays off. And if you not have a big family or so and you don't really need the space of a Tiguan, you can save money and go with a smaller version here. Maybe also a lot of so far Golf customers will say, why not putting it a little bit higher and have a little bit more comfort and then switching over to this one here. I think it's very important that they have this one here in the market now, especially talking about Nissan Qashqai and the Honda CR-V. This is a very strong competitor now, which then also can keep up with the price, which the Tiguan so far could not actually do. So a very promising future for this vehicle, I think. Of course, I want to hear your opinion on that one here, and there will be another opinion from Brian, because Brian will join us with this vehicle on the world premiere and also have some CEO interviews and even more insight on this very vehicle. We will link this episode as soon as it's available in the video description. Also tune in to that one, and also see you at the next full review. Thanks for watching.